In this video, I'm going to be telling about some crazy tricks that's going to help you get any fruit in the game. Starting off, the first way to get any fruit that you want is by doing the factory raid, and a lot of people actually don't know about this, even though it's one of the simplest ways on this list. But to do this, you have to have access to the second sea, which I'm pretty sure most people do. When the factory raid's about to start, a message is going to be sent in the server saying we are breaching the factory in 30 seconds. And once those 30 seconds are up, there's going to be another message saying alert, the factory has been breached, poison control activating in 5 minutes. Then basically you have 5 minutes to destroy the core in the factory. And if you're the person that does the most damage to the core, then you'll be actually awarded with a random devil fruit. But don't worry, even if you don't end up doing damage to the core, and if you did at least 10%, then you'll receive drops depending on your damage. 65,000 to 85,000 belly, but 76,000 on average. You'll also get an average of 650,000 XP, which is a good amount just for raid. But you're not guaranteed a fruit. You're only guaranteed a fruit if you do the most damage. You can also get a thing called a Siddim rifle from here, which is actually one of the most overpowered guns in the whole game. Moving on to the next way to get fruits. This one is actually slightly harder than the previous method because you do have to have the third sea unlocked for this, and it's very similar. You just have to head over to a place called the Castle on the Sea, which I'm pretty sure you guys already know. Once you get over there, you're going to be doing the Castle on the Sea raid, which actually works pretty similarly because the raid is going to start when a certain message is sent in the chat. Once that happens, pirates are basically just going to start attacking the castle, and you just have to defeat them. And if you're the person that defeats the last pirate, then you have a 100% chance of getting a random fruit. You can't choose the fruit, but you are guaranteed a fruit, so make sure you kill that last pirate. And the most important thing to remember about this raid is that it's not the person that kills the most amount of pirates, which is a shame because in my opinion that's a lot more fair, because if you do more damage and kill more enemies, then you should have the highest chance. But unfortunately, it's the person that kills the last enemy that gets the fruit. But if you're a really weak person and you end up getting the lucky last hit, then this is a really good farming method for you. So I recommend trying this one out. Next up, we got the ship raids, which are actually different depending whether you're on the second sea or the third sea. The way the ship raids work are pretty simple. You just have to sail across the sea in a boat, then 2 brigade ships are going to spawn on you, and they also have a chance of being the Grand Brigade. And these ships are basically just going to start shooting cannonballs at your ship until your ship sinks. And this raid actually ends when your ship sinks, so the health of your ship decides the amount of time you have to destroy those ships. And if you're trying to do this raid, make sure you have the Magma V2 equipped it, because that's definitely the best for sea battles, just because of the way the fruit works. And if you want to do something a little extra, make sure you also have the Shark V4 equipped it, because everyone knows that the shark race is really overpowered in water. Next trick is pretty old school, but it is a pretty simple way to get fruits, and that is just simply waiting for fruits to spawn in. Fruits spawn in every hour in the game, or every 45 minutes if it's a weekend. And I'm pretty happy that the devs did this because they know that people play Blox fruits more on the weekends. There's a specific spot on each island in the game that a fruit can spawn at, so I recommend you learn that spot so you know exactly where to go to if you want to collect your fruit. Next way is also pretty simple, and I definitely recommend this way because it's the easiest, and I'm pretty sure most of you watching should already know about it. And this is simply just buying a fruit from the Blox fruit dealer. This is the simplest and safest way to get a fruit because all you have to do is just save up the amount of money you want, head over to the Blox fruit dealer, and then just purchase the fruit. But you do have to keep in mind you have to wait for the fruit to be in stock. And to check the fruit stocks, you can use Discord servers or you can just search it up online. It's pretty simple to do. Moving on, the next trick is also pretty simple. It's very similar to the Blox fruit dealer, and that is using the Blox fruit Gacha. Everyone knows how the Blox fruit Gacha works. You just talk to him and he spits a random fruit for you. You do have to pay him a fixed amount of money each time, and the money you have to pay him is actually different depending on what level you are. If you're level 50, which is the minimum level for talking to this guy, then you only have to pay 32,000 belly to roll a fruit. But if you're at the max level, which is 2,550, then you have to pay 407,000 belly to roll a fruit. Damn, that is incredibly expensive. If you're level 50 with Roblox Premium, then you only need to pay 25,000 belly. And if you're max level, you only need to pay 324,000. Damn, talk about premium privilege. And the Blox fruit Gacha is located in specific places in all the seas. In the first sea, he's pretty easy to locate. He's just at the jungle. In the second sea, he's at the cafe. And in the third sea, he's at the mansion. So if you want to roll some fruits, you know exactly where to head to. And another method I actually recommend if you want to get fruits a lot faster is create alt accounts. They're not against the rules and they're pretty simple to do, but you do have to level up those alt accounts to level 50 if you want to keep spinning from this guy, because the Blox fruit Gacha actually has a 2-hour timer on rolling fruits. You literally can't just spam roll on them. You have to wait 2 hours before each roll, and that's the reason people create alts, and that's the reason I recommend you do that as well. Another way to get fruits is actually kind of cheesy, but it is incredibly simple to do. That's all you have to do is open up the permanent fruit shop literally right here, and boom, you just buy the fruit directly from here. And you can't actually do this if you're a Roblox millionaire and you just have a bunch of Robux sitting around to waste. Another way you can actually get fruits is by trading for them, but this isn't really the ideal method because you obviously need to have fruits that are worth trading. And a pretty fun fact about trading is that you can't only trade fruits, you can also trade your game passes if you want to. So if you have a lot of Robux to spare, then there's definitely people out there willing to take a really cheap game pass for one of the best fruits in the game. Because at the end of the day, fruits you can get without paying a single penny, but game passes you can only get by spending Robux. Another way to get a fruit is by getting it gifted to you, which is incredibly unlikely because I don't think a lot of you guys have friends that are just willing to give you fruits for free. Because at the the end of the day, they do cost Robux. But if you do, then lucky for you, just ask them to send you some fruits. The next way is actually very specific, and it's for a specific fruit. And I don't really recommend this, and you'll see why in a second. All you have to do is head over to the second sea and into the secret area where you unlock Race V3. Then you can talk to an NPC called Wenlock, which is this doghouse right here. And if you talk to him, he's gonna give you the physical rocket fruit for 97 Robux. And you should be seeing the reason why I don't recommend this, because who in their right mind is paying 97 Robux for a physical rocket fruit? It's literally the worst fruit in the whole game. But if you have Robux to spare and if you're rich and stupid, then I guess you can use this method. The next way is kind of cheesy, but if you tried hard enough, this method could definitely work, and that's by getting a fruit that someone dropped. To do this method, I recommend going into a private server and just kind of stalking people, I guess. And if you see any of them finding fruits and if they want to drop it to their friends, then you can just follow them and just snipe it once they drop it on the floor. But you have to be really sneaky, and you do have to have a pretty fast fruit for this, because how else are you going to get over there? Another way you can actually farm fruits better is by getting the fruit notifier game pass, and this is actually kind of an addition to the previous method, which is just normal farming. This is just going to make your normal farming life a lot easier. The Blox fruit notification game pass costs a total of 2,700 Robux, which is pretty expensive, so you do have to have the extra money for this. And the way this game pass works is that when a fruit spawns into the game, it's going to tell you exactly where the fruit is, and you just have to follow a meter. And you do have to be good with directions, because it doesn't actually highlight exactly where the fruit is. It's going to tell you how many meters the fruit is away from you. So if you just follow simple directions and you have an IQ above 5, then you should be good. The next way to get fruits is by participating in in-game events, and only some of these events actually give you fruits, not all of them. For example, you can receive a physical fruit from the Death King during the Halloween event, or buying during the Valentine's Day event, which is actually pretty far away. But just for the next one, remember that there's going to be an NPC that spawns in where he has a chance of selling you a random fruit. So make sure you take advantage of that in the next Valentine's Day, which is literally in like 10 months. And about the Death King during the Halloween event, a pretty fun fact is that the Death King was actually added to the game in the Halloween event, but the community liked him so much that they decided to keep him as a permanent NPC, just like the Blox fruit gacha. But the thing about the Death King is that he's actually buffed during Halloween events, so that's the only time you can actually get a fruit from him. If you talk to him normally in the game now, then you have a 0% chance of getting a fruit. Another way of getting a fruit is actually very difficult to do, but if you end up doing it, then you have a very high chance of getting the fruit that you want, and that's by using the advanced Blox fruit dealer. You guys might be wondering who this guy is, because a lot of you are not in the third sea, so you definitely not heard about this guy. He's basically an NPC that spawns on the Mirage Island, which is an island that has a random chance of spawning if you're driving out with a boat in the middle of the sea. And the difference between the advanced Blox fruit dealer is that he's obviously a lot better. He has a minimum of 7 fruits that can be in stock, when the regular Blox fruit dealer only has 3. He also has a way higher chance of having legendary fruits in stock, when the normal Blox fruit dealer has no extra buffs. He also has a restock time of only 2 hours, when the normal Blox fruit dealer has a restock time of 4 hours. That means you literally have to wait half the time, and you have a way higher chance of getting better fruits in stock. Anyways, the next way that you can get this fruit is actually kind of specific, and I promise you it's not buying the rocket fruit for 97 Robux. This way is going to let you get the physical Kitsune fruit, and that is by going to the Kitsune shrine and redeeming the Azure Embers. Keep in mind that it's an incredibly low chance that you actually end up getting the Kitsune fruit, but it's honestly worth a try. If you have a lot of time to spare, that is.